What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So listen, this is not a follow-up video. I want to start with something so I can lead to something else. Now, I just did a video about Deontay Wilder, and it was really about Dillian Whyte and pretty much what's next for Dillian Whyte and the possibility of Deontay Wilder fighting him. Now, I did a whole video on that. I had to scrap the video just because of something crazy at the end, interruption-wise, and it was like, and it was too long for me to edit. So here I'm doing it again. Now, check this out, y'all. For starters, okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on Dillian Whyte. I already said what I had to say. Now, you have some people who feel like I'm not giving him enough credit for his win, or other people are not. First, let me say this. Okay, there's a lot of people who always want to see somebody lose, whether it's personal, whether it's because is another fighter that they like more and they want to see that fighter lose, and they want to see the fighter they like win, whatever it may be. Don't confuse my words, okay, with or thoughts because with someone else's, because basically I'm not a fan of anyone. And when I see, no matter how good your performance is, it's not looking to find fault in something you're doing, okay? A mistake you made. We're talking about something that happens continuously. Like, example, when I talk about dealing with those wobbly legs and him throwing a lazy jab often, or him throwing, you know, reaching for shots, leaving himself wide open, him coming in a straight line. These are not things that I'm just saying because just to say it, okay? When I'm watching a fight, I want to enjoy the fight, but also at times, you know, you're watching and you're thinking like in coach mode. Like, if I was in his corner, what would I be telling him I want to see more of and less of, and things like that, okay? You think that Dillian Whyte's corner don't see these things, and maybe they see it and feel like that's just the way he fights. Who knows? I don't know. But at the same time, right, because one guy doesn't capitalize or can't capitalize on something that you did doesn't mean the next guy will. Okay, that being said, let me just break this down really quick. I already said, between Dillian Whyte and Wilder, I'm not comparing their skills so much, okay, because really, I think Dillian Whyte's a better fighter than Deontay Wilder. And I don't think Deontay Wilder, first off, I don't see him outboxing Dillian Whyte. If he beats Dillian Whyte, he has to knock him out. I just don't. Wilder can't box, okay? Whyte is a better fighter. They both have their flaws, okay? And when I'm talking, like I said, I'm not talking about a mistake someone made in the fight. I'm talking about something that you see often. One thing that Wilder has working for him, he has patience. We've seen Wilder, because he can't box, we've seen him get outboxed by lesser fighters, right? I've already said this. Wilder will have to knock Dillian Whyte out, in my opinion, to beat him, okay? Dillian Whyte, he likes to mix it up. He likes to get in there and stay close. The problem with Dillian Whyte, as far as him staying close, is when you throw a lazy jab, when you keep your hands down low, when you do these type of things, okay, and you fight a guy that's quicker than you are, we know Wilder's bread and butter is his jab right hand. We already know that. It's not his hooks, his uppercuts, his body shot. We already know that. But at the same time, he's quick enough to land that shot. You get lazy, Wilder catch you sleeping, that's what he capitalizes on. Okay, and Dillian Whyte, listen, he did a good job against Povetkin. He did what he had to do. When I say Povetkin's an aging fighter, okay, first off, check it. I said the same thing in the first fight, and you can see it. I'm not saying it because I just can't think of nothing else to say. So let me just say something. This is not to take credit away from Dillian Whyte. You can't. The same Asian guy that knocked him out in the first fight, okay, he was losing every round. He still got the knockout, okay? When I say he looked flabby, you guys got two working eyes that see. He looked soft around the gut. He looked flabby. You can see his skills are not, he's not what he was. His reflexes are not the same. He's not the same fighter. But Dylan did what he had to do, okay? At the same time, for people that's comparing the Brazil knockout or any other fight, the Burns to Vern knockout, how he did it quickly. And yeah, he got it. Look, stylistically, Mike Tyson could destroy certain guys faster than Evander Holyfield could. What happened when they fought each other, though? So stylistically, yes, Wilder is more explosive than Dillian Whyte when he throws that 1-2. That's all he has. He has his patience. He steps back. He doesn't want to engage. Wilder keeps his distance. Wilder doesn't come in. Look, he doesn't come in to brawl and trade shots. That's not what Wilder does. When Wilder thinks he has you hurt, he starts throwing those wild shots. So when I say Dillian was throwing wild shots in the fight, yeah, he was throwing wild shots in the fight. This is not, listen, this is not, again, like I said, about let's bash a fight. I'm not bashing Wilder. I'm not bashing Dillian. I'm speaking it how I see it. Now, if you guys are too sensitive for that, I don't know what to tell you. But I'm being real about it. He gets all the credit in the world because he got knocked out. He wanted to get right back in there. The fight kept getting postponed. Okay, Wilder got knocked out, not knocked out, but got the towel thrown in, and he basically hasn't fought since then. And it's been over a year. And not only that, he's still talking about the first fight. He's not even talking about what he has planned. Just saying, I want this guy. If I can't get that guy, I want that guy. That's not going to cut it. At the end of the day, if you want the fight, do what you have to do to make the fight happen. Simple. So what ends up happening now is if you talk about mental toughness, right? If Wilder was to get up off the couch right now and decide, hey, man, I'm going to go fight Dillian Whyte, which I doubt very seriously, Wilder, in my opinion, would get destroyed. Because the mental toughness that he needs, he's not even showing it. A lot of fighters do that. They look at Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz lost one fight, okay? And he hasn't fought since then. And to come back, he's fighting Chris Arreola, of all people. Now, here's my thing, okay? I said this fight was designed to make Andy Ruiz look good. Let's find the weakest possible opponent. Look, at best, Chris Arreola was a contender. Never could win the big one. Always fell short. And he's been out of his prime and been a journeyman for years now. I mean, do you want to count all the losses that he has and like how he gets destroyed by guys? I mean, he got beat by Burns to Vern twice. I don't even need to say anymore. Okay? And Wilder already destroyed him. Klitschko destroyed. I mean, look, he's been washed up for a long time. Okay? I don't care if you like Chris Arreola as a fighter or not. I'm not here to babysit people's feelings. I don't care about that. What I'm saying is the guy doesn't belong in the ring with Andy Ruiz. Okay? But at least we see Andy Ruiz training. We know he has a fight coming up. We see, all the Photoshop pictures. I've seen phony shots. I've seen shots with Andy Ruiz, and all of a sudden he looks like sculpted. Not just like he lost weight, but like he looks like six-pack, chest all swole. We know that's Photoshop nonsense. Andy Ruiz don't look anything like that. Andy Ruiz said in an IFL interview not too long ago that, this week actually, he said that he was devastated when he lost to Anthony Joshua. And it goes to show you what I'm saying when these guys lose a fight. It's not like it was his first loss, but it was his first title defense and he lost his first title defense. And the long layoff, it shows, man, when these guys lose that they can't handle the loss, a lot of guys. Now, if you look at Dillian Whyte, right after the fight, like, hey, man, let's just make the fight. He wanted to make it like 3 months down the line. He wanted to do it right away. Maybe the rest helped him. Who knows? Povetkin can still punch, so we know all he had to do is land one. We already know that. One good one, Dillian could have been asleep again. Give Dillian the credit because he went in there, he fought a guy that just knocked him out. Yeah, Dillian was the better fighter. Povetkin can't outbox Dillian now. So we're basically looking at a guy who went in there, avenged his loss, did what he had to do. He's ready. Let's do what we got to do again. Right? With whoever. But at the same time, okay? I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't see the holes in his game. That has to be worked on. Look, I don't know if you guys are aware. If you combine his amateur career to his pro career, he has 37 fights combined with his amateur and pro career combined. Okay? Wilder has over 40 professional fights. Okay? Wilder didn't have an extensive amateur background either. Okay? But bottom line is this. Dillian Whyte is still a work in progress. All right, but the things that he's 32 now. This is the point what I'm getting at. Okay, because fighters can get better. But there's things that I've seen Dylan do for a long time. If you watch when he fought Anthony Joshua, Dylan kept his hands up high. If you watch Dylan now, most fights you see his left hand is low. His left hand is low. He'll circle, try to move out the way, but Dylan doesn't have good footwork. Dylan doesn't have fast feet. He doesn't really have fast hands. He's not the slowest guy in the world, but he has a tendency. All you got to do is listen to what I'm saying and watch. He throws a lazy jab often. His jab was working like a charm against Povetkin. Okay, but understand something. Against a guy like Wilder who's rangy and tall, Wilder's not going to stand there to be hit by him. He's going to stand there. He's going to keep his arms extended. He's going to try to keep the range. He's going to use his jab. He's going to jab to the body. He's going to jab up top. I don't think Dylan is going to be effective. I don't see him being effective going backwards against Wilder. I think he has to go forward. That stalemate style of him standing there and waiting, I think he's going to get caught with that fucking right hand. Now, it's possible he can catch Wilder and get Wilder the fuck out of here. I know he hits hard enough to knock Wilder out. Of course he does. They both can knock each other out. Because Dylan and Whyte love to engage is why I call it a 50-50 fight. Because even if he's winning the fight, Dylan and Whyte can, and he often puts himself in harm's way. We've seen it against Parker. We've seen it against Oscar Rivas. You know, we've seen him, look, he puts himself in harm's way because he likes to engage, and sometimes he gets careless. Terry Norris was one of those guys. He had all the skill in the world. Terry was a talented fighter. Terry was a guy who, whoever Terry fights, I want to see Terry win. Certain guys he fought, I had a funny feeling about. And you want to know what's funny? My hunches was always right. Because Terry was a guy who fell asleep on defense at times. He got careless and left himself open, put himself in harm's way. He's another guy. But Terry had fast hands, fast feet. He had great movement. He could box. And he still wound up, certain fights he made harder for himself because he wound up getting caught because he wanted to engage to the point where he could have just used his boxing skills and stay at range, get in, get out, dictate the pace, but he went for the knockout so much and he would just fall asleep on defense a lot. Often this happened. You see him get caught, get knocked out, and, you know, is it because I'm hating on Terry Norris? No, I see, it's common sense. I'm tired of even talking about this hating, man. We're grown adults. I'm getting tired of all of this childish talk about someone hating because they're giving their opinion on what they see. I'm not, y'all know Aries. Ain't no filter with me. And I'm not sitting here. If I was going out on this guy, you would know. So what I'm saying is the same way I feel like he's a better fighter than Deontay Wilder, I still see holes in his game that Deontay Wilder could exploit just simply by being quick enough to land the shot that he needs. And that's what Wilder has going for him. As far as his overall game, no, Wilder has no footwork. But you can't look at Dylan and Whyte and think that because Tyson Fury walked him down, it's the same. No, Tyson Fury has a longer reach. He worked behind that jab. And he was throwing over on top of that. And Wilder had no answers for that. Dylan and Whyte doesn't have that height advantage where he can throw over top and make Wilder have to lean like he was doing and reaching. Dylan and Whyte, to me, he has to come forward to be successful, okay? But Dylan and Whyte comes in a straight line as well. What I'm saying is the danger of him getting caught is there because of things that he don't do. Look, imagine Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson, coming straight in with no head movement. Do you think they would have been as successful as they have been? Do you think it works out the same? They just coming in a straight line? They got the same speed, same power and everything, but just no head movement. You know, even Big George kept his hands out in front of him and he kind of swayed a little bit. You know, even George kept his hands out. Dylan and Whyte, watch him. He's been dropping that left hand a lot. Not just against Povetkin. His left hand is in front of him, is low, and it's like, you better keep that hand up, Dylan. Dylan doesn't have that skill to slip and roll underneath and still look at you. When he moves, he turns his head. Okay, there's things I see that I'm saying he has to work on. You think that he's going to go into a fight with Wilder and his team is going to look at him and say, oh, fight him just the same way you did against Povetkin? We already know Wilder only has one gear. Wilder doesn't know how to box. Wilder doesn't know how to create holes. He look for them. He's patient. He wait. He take them when they come. That's what Wilder does. Yes, he can land that shot. If he can land that shot, he can get Dylan out of there. Dylan can get him out of there. If they fight, I'm going with Dylan. I think Dylan wins. What more do you want me to say? It's not about what you want me to say, okay? But I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat and act like I don't see holes in Dillian Whyte's game. And that's all I've been saying from day one. And I like anybody else who said that Dillian Whyte was going to lose the rematch, people are entitled to their opinion. Dillian Whyte said AJ was going to lose the rematch to Andy Ruiz. So even when he did his video saying, oh, these guys said I'm going to lose. And okay, right. But you also said that AJ was going to lose. And when he won, you gave him half-ass credit. Well, the point is he won, but he fight like he doesn't know what he wants to do. You know, I don't understand that. Like he's scared or like he's... You had nothing but negativity to say about AJ. So why is it if somebody think that Dillian Whyte's going to lose, it's like it's a crime? If you look, I thought Joe Joyce had a great chance of winning against, Dubois had a great chance of winning against Joe Joyce, and I thought that he could have definitely did it. Not because of what I saw him do, and I realize it's lesser caliber fighters. I get that, but because Joe Joyce is so slow, right? And Dubois, the things he was saying about stylistically, I'm like, okay, he understands what he has to do. Do you think that when a fighter lose, that their trainers go into the fight thinking, oh, my fighter's going to lose, but I'm going, no, you're training, you're watching, you see the progress, okay, we're ready. And then it don't go the way you want it to. My thing was, Joe Joyce showed a great chin, he showed great stamina, and basically the fight was close. But that jab closed that eye, and he basically disabled him with that jab. He stuck to that jab. The jab was the key. But how many people talked and made that fight sound like Joe Joyce went in and just dominated the fight? No, it was a very close fight. It's just the simple fact that Dubois, not that just that he lost, but because he quit to save his eye. He felt something different, okay? And people, oh man, he quit. What would you have done if you was in there? You know, especially non-fighters who sit on the couch calling people cowards and all that, right? So you're not talking from experience. But bottom line is, I didn't make any excuses. The better man won. It's as simple as that. Now, you don't think I saw holes in Dubois' game? Of course, but I saw holes in both of their games. But Dubois was not able to do the things that he could have because he couldn't get away from that jab. And what was his biggest problem? No head movement. And that's one of the things I definitely saw and said, hey, man, you know what? Hopefully he fixed that, because you see what that jab can do, right? Listen, there are better fighters in the division than Povetkin at this point. So going forward, right? You study each fighter, you study their style, you watch what they do, and you adjust and make the necessary adjustments in the ring as well, because your opponent can come in the ring and do something different from what you're used to seeing them doing at times. But those things that I see, like I said, I go with Dylan to win, but at the same time, it's not like I'm going to act like I don't see that. Yeah, it's things he need to work on. Definitely things he don't want to do when he's in there with a guy with quicker hands and a punch. And that can punch, because that right there alone could be the Povetkin one fight all over again. Dylan was winning the fight, and then he got caught. We saw Luis Ortiz outboxing Deontay Wilder, right? We seen him winning the fight against Wilder. We know that the judges was out of their goddamn mind, because in the first fight, if I remember correctly, they're saying that they had I think two of the judges had Wilder ahead on the scorecards. How? You know, I'm not talking about now a fighter getting robbed. That's something completely different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking just the ability to go in there and outbox. No, Wilder cannot outbox Dillian Whyte, but he can knock him out. And of course, Whyte can knock him out also. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I'm just looking at what Whyte is doing. I'm looking at his progression. And the fact is, you know, he did what he had to do. And me pointing out Povetkin slipping, I pointed that out in the first fight. So I'm not one of those guys. I'm not in any category with any other guy, put it that way. So I have nothing to do and can care less what anybody else was saying. And like I said, Dillian Whyte was saying that AJ was going to get knocked out again against Ruiz. And when he won, like I said, he took credit away from his victory. So what is it? We have to sit and praise Dillian Whyte because you like Dillian Whyte as a fighter? No. Well, Aries don't praise anybody. I'm just calling it the way I see it. Now, and like I said, he showed mental toughness. He got back in there. He He didn't go through a depression and take a year off and, oh man, they robbed me, oh man, I can't believe I lost or whatever. He wanted to get right back in it, and he did, and he's been consistent fighting all the time. Now, let me say this real quick as well and get off of them. And again, congratulations on his victory. But I watched Frak Warren speak the other day. Frak Warren basically is now, if you notice him, Bob Arum, if you notice when these guys talk, it's like they get agitated from people just asking them questions. They like have a nasty vibe about themselves. Let me explain something to y'all. Somebody asked me, they said they think I should make a video about why Deontay Wilder and JD's, you know, and all these guys are so quiet. You want to know? Simple. I think that they're so quiet because Deontay Wilder simply doesn't know what he wants to do. That's what I believe. He just doesn't know what he wants to do. Like I said, sending term sheets and contracts, that's making steps. Reaching out, let's put a meeting together. Let's or whatever. Let's Zoom. Let's do whatever. Let's video chat. Whatever we got to do. Okay, but let's start making steps to make a fight happen. Okay. We just got Linares and Devin Haney confirmed. We got Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo confirmed. Okay, we got several fights confirmed. So when we're talking about a guy like Wilder who just took a loss, and anytime he speaks, he's not even talking about forward progression. It's what happened in the past. He's not ready to go back in the ring, and if he's not ready, I don't think he should jump in there just to try to, you know, silence people, because I think the worst is going to happen to him if he does. So he needs to want this. He has to have it here, here, and in here. He has to know, I'm ready. I want this. I'm hungry. I don't think his hunger and his desire is there, and I believe that's where the silence is coming from. He simply just has not made up his mind with what he wants to do. Okay? And when I'm listening to Fury talk, well, I get that same vibe that Fury's not ready for this particular fight. And if you listen, John Fury the other day said, he admitted, he said that Fury probably needs a warm-up or tune-up before he gets to AJ. So if you listen and think about what I said before, and the same thing, you have Fury fans, oh man, but how could you say that about Fury? Like I'm saying right now, Fury doesn't want that fight. Plain and simple, I don't think Fury's ready. Okay, he hasn't fought since Wilder hasn't fought. And this is why it made no sense to me when he was saying, I just want to fight. I don't want to wait. I want to fight somebody. I don't care who, but somebody that I want to fight. Okay, AJ's that fight. So basically what I take out of that was what he was trying to not say is, I need a tune-up before I fight AJ. And remember, because I'm hearing all this talk about November. And I'm like, where's November coming from? Eddie Hearn is talking about August. So basically, I guess what Fury was trying to not say is, I want a tune-up first. Now remember, he did all that talk, he's a bum, I can fight him right now, I don't have to be in shape, I can train for a wheel, whatever it was, and I can beat AJ and all this crap he was talking, and twice on, I'll fight anybody anywhere, twice on Sunday. And he doesn't want to eat his words. Because think about it. You said you want to fight anybody, somebody, anybody. Okay, well, what makes you think that fight's going to materialize when basically all they've been doing is shooting down the undisputed fight, or a lot of things that can happen that can cause the fight to not happen, and you know, I want to get me hopes up high. And then here goes Frak Warren now, talking about how there's things that can cause the fight to not happen. Frak Warren is sitting here talking about, you know, it's a lot of things that has to happen first, and because of COVID and because of regulation. Okay, well then, if you can't make undisputed, I mean, Errol Spence just fought in Dallas Stadium not too long ago. Had a nice crowd there. Dillian Whyte just fought, what it was in Gibraltar. They had a nice little crowd there. Canelo fought not too long ago and had a nice little crowd. So, I mean, he's about to fight Billy Joe. So you're going to tell me that for some reason, what, because the word undisputed is attached, they can't make this fight happen? AJ already said, look, we make it 50-50. AJ doesn't want excuses. He doesn't want anybody to overprice themselves. He doesn't want anything to happen where the fight doesn't happen because of some little minor detail. And basically, when I said, just because they signed the contract, we still have not had a location or anything, and there's no build up to this fight. Man, you build up to a fight months in advance because you're trying to get as many people that you possibly can on notice. So even regardless to if you can't get a full packed house because of COVID, Still, you want people to go jump on pay-per-view, go on that the Zone or whatever's going to be on Match or whatever. Get on there and let's get on there. I mean, the Zone, whatever, and get on there and order the fight. You want people, whatever platform that is going to be available on, you want people to be able to watch the fight. You don't want to wait to the last minute. It's not how you do business. It's not how you do business, man. You don't. It's like you want a build up to it. Team Fury shows no enthusiasm. They're very nonchalant about the fight. It's just, picture this, right? Imagine talking to, you're in a relationship and you say to the person, do you want to be in this relationship? And that person, obviously you're asking that question, right? Because there's a problem there. So Eddie Hearn saying he had to ask Tyson Fury, like, do you want this fight? Why? Because the energy's not there. The motivation is not there. So whatever, response that he gave Eddie Hearn, let's be real. Eddie Hearn already said he talked to them with their permission. He announced the fight with their permission. Did you hear them deny that? No. But when he called Eddie Hearn a liar and called these guys, I'm like, okay, wait. So, they're pushing for the fight. They obviously want the fight. So to say that they're liars, what are they lying about? Instead of saying, look, I want this fight, AJ wants this fight, we're going to do everything in our power to make it happen. Let's make it happen. No. It's just like, I don't think the fight's going to happen. I don't see, is it going to happen eventually? Yes, but I don't think it's going to be next. But you just sat here and said you want to fight anybody, somebody. This is what I'm saying. But when it comes to Undisputed, it's like the energy just changes. His fans are showing more energy towards the fight than he is. So this is what I'm saying. If you want something, right? You only talk down like that when you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in the fight happening. Why? Because of minor details. Okay, well, what? Frak Warren goes, we're going to do, of course, everything in our power to make the fight happen. But no, you're not. You're saying one thing, but then you basically hypocritically say one thing. Because you're saying you're going to make the fight happen, but then you're sitting there saying it's not going to happen. I don't see the fight happen. So what do you mean you're going to do anything in your power? That's like praying, going, Lord, I know you ain't going to give me what I'm asking for, but could you please help grandma get better? Thank you. Okay, she's going to die. So what are you praying for? You don't believe, but you're praying anyway. So when Eddie Hearn has to ask Tyson Fury, do you want this fight? It's because it's something wrong. The vibe is not there. The energy is not there. The words don't match the actions. Just like if you're in a relationship, if you're happy, everything's going good, you have no reason to doubt your partner, right? So you wouldn't ask, do you want to be in this relationship? It has to be something going on that make you go, something is not right. His or her vibe is not right. The energy's not right. We're not getting along. Something is wrong. Yeah. Something is wrong. Look, people, I just give you guys the news, and like I said, I'm not here to babysit your feelings. I put, the content out as I see it coming. I wait on certain things because a lot of times you'll say one thing, and then the very next day or same night, there's something else added to it, and then it's like I don't want to keep making 3, 4, 5 videos a night to keep saying it's talking about the same thing. So I give it let me give it a minute, and it gets boring for me to sit here and just keep saying, talking about one particular fight, and it's just not going on. And I know other channels don't have a problem with doing that, but it's like, you know what? It's nothing new coming up. So now we're just talking and just monologuing about what? I don't see any enthusiasm on Fury's side. You don't sit and shoot something down. Okay, I'll give you another simple analogy. Someone says, hey, listen, we should go to the beach today. And the response is, yeah. Doesn't that automatically, your common sense, that person is not really enthused? It doesn't matter if you go or don't go. That person goes, hell yeah, we should go. Let's do that. Hey, done. What time you want to go? They're showing enthusiasm. They want to go. But if that person is just sitting there, you automatically know it doesn't matter if you go to the beach or not, right? You don't get that same vibe from Team Fury just because you're Fury fans. You don't get that same vibe that something's not there. So all of this talk about, well, we're a week away now before they have to come to an agreement. And all of this, oh, anybody can clearly see what Fury's doing. See, what he's doing is he's pretending he don't want the fight. You know, like he's not interested in the fight. And then what they're going to do is at the last minute, they're going to surprise everybody. So everyone will just really want this fight. And you really believe that basically that hocus pocus elementary way of thinking, this is how business, this is business. Look, do you realize fighters are also businessmen? A whole lot of them, most of them are not business minded, but you're the boss. You call the shots in your cap. You're businessmen. This is how you build up to a fight, by pretending you don't want the fight. Now, at the same time, people, we had a situation with Floyd and Manny Pacquiao where every fight that these guys would have, or every interview in between, each fighter's name would come up to the other fighter. Okay, people had their opinions on what they thought was going to happen and who was going to win and who was ducking who and all this, and it doesn't make a difference. And it took three and a half years for that fight to finally happen, right? You heard Tyson Fury say, look, he made that as a comparison and said, look how much money was made. Look how much money they you know. Okay, he said, until I have a ton of money in my pocket, I ain't fighting nobody. I mean, so again, because I repeated what he said, I even had some racist motherfucker sit here, oh, I'd expect that from an American to take what he says literally. Do you know how stupid you sound? Okay, you know, I applied for a position 2 days ago. You guys told me to call back. I'm calling you guys back to find out if I got the position. Yes, you got the job, sir. Can you start Monday? Sure, I'll be there 8 o'clock in the morning. No problem. See you then. Imagine you show up and the guy goes, who are you? I came here for the job the other day, 2 days ago, and you told me that, oh, I mean, well, you didn't take what I said literally, did you? This is what you guys are saying. You can't take what he says literally. This is a grown man, right? He's speaking. So you're going to sit here and do a half an hour video of bullshit, basically. I don't mean nothing I'm saying, but I'm just going to say it just for the sake of making this video. Is that what it was? So now we're a week away from, hey, is either done or the fight's gone. Okay? Now we're hearing this whole bullshit about arbitration, about, you know, there was supposedly a leaked video. I heard a little clip. I forget the guy's name who did it, but it's supposedly a leaked video of Bob Arum saying worst case scenario is we have to pay Wilder some money for damages. When I said that he was suing for damages, not to force a third fight. Oh no, man, he want the third fight. And we've seen all of these different people jump up here on these different platforms and make up lie after lie after lie after lie. And basically, it's like, yeah, we heard those words come out of Bob Arum's mouth that they may have to pay him some damage, money for damage, the worst case scenario. Well, again, like I said, I don't know what the dollar amount is, but I said Wilder doesn't want this fight. Fury fans was all in agreement with me. But when I say that Fury don't want the AJ fight, oh no, but how could you say that, man? No, he wants the fight. Well, he doesn't show it to me. And if AJ was doing the same thing, or any other fighter, you guys would be sitting here saying they don't want the fight. It's as simple as that. You know, no enthusiasm. And basically, if you break down the fact that when this fight first was spoken about, before it was even made known that this was that, like, okay, it's on. Fury was doing more talk. He was doing the most trash talking. He was the one talking about AJ's a bum and all of that, right? So think about what I'm saying. If that's the case, and you guys think that he wants to fight, but listen, but for some reason he's just playing dumb, so this is going to build the fight up. No, I think Fury wants to fight somebody else first, a lesser fighter, a tune-up, Like I think it was John. I think it was John Fury that said it, that he basically admitted he needs a tune-up. Maybe might need a tune-up first because he hasn't fought since he fought Wilder, right? So if that's the case, then it's a reason that he doesn't want to fight AJ right now. But you guys sit here and have a counter for everything that he says. No, what he really meant was blah, blah, blah. He says one thing, but y'all say something different. So look, I don't want to hear any excuses about they can't make the fight happen. Eddie Hearn is doing his damnedest to try to make the fight happen. Eddie Hearn already had situations where he has a fight put together. Everybody's anticipating this fight, and at the last minute, somebody gets injured, something happens, now it has to have a replacement several times. And this was happening card after card. So you think that he wants that to happen now? Why not put the fight out there? One of the stupidest excuses I heard was that Fury's trying to speed the fight up so he don't have to wait. Wait till what? The fight was supposed to be in August. So what is he waiting for? You need 3 months of training. So what is he trying to speed up? Speed up and have it win. How now if he's already worried about they don't have a venue, there's things that could prevent the fight. What is he trying to speed up when there's nothing finalized? What is he trying to speed up? I'm going to sign my name on the contract that I want to fight. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to happen. No. I guess the signature is to say, well, yeah, he put his name down, so it's obviously he wants to fight, but yet who's the one saying the fight's not going to happen? And here goes Frak Warren talking about COVID. All of a sudden now he's a COVID expert. He's because of COVID, you regulations of this and that, and these people, listen, either you want the fight or you don't. Anything that you want, you try your hardest to make it happen. You don't sit here and shut it down. You don't sit here and act like, you know, you just don't show any interest in the fight, but yet I want the fight. And yet he expressed, look when he said, I want to fight anybody, somebody, I don't care who, I just want to fight. Look at how he expressed that with no problem, but when it comes to this undisputed fight, all of a sudden now he's talking like, he doesn't know what he wants to do. So, that being said, I don't see that fight happening either. Now, if at the last minute he comes out and says, well, the fight's going to be on, he already put his name there, right? He already signed whatever, right? But if he signed it, then even for Eddie Hearn to have to ask him, does he want this fight? What's going on? What is not happening? His signatures are, look, him and AJ signed the contract, but what's going on that AJ have to question his team about, do they want the fight? You hear it from Frak Warren as well. So what has to happen? So even if the fight was, let's say that at the last minute they get it together and it happens, I'm not concerned about people going, I told you, see, I said he was, I don't care nothing about that. And I still don't think that that's the case. I don't think he wants that fight because I don't think he's ready, because he hasn't fought since he fought Wilder, and I think he needs a touch-up. Just like we saying the same thing about Wilder, I don't see Wilder coming back fighting any top guy. Wilder comes back, he's going to fight an easy touch, maybe 2 or 3 easy touches before he fights anyone else. This is why I said it would make sense for him to go get that WBA title, because Trevor Bryan is an easy touch. But Dillian Whyte smartly is saying, I'll go after Trevor Bryan for that WBA title. Why not? And see, here's the thing, right? Wilder got boosted up in the WBA rankings without even fighting anybody. So let's say Dillian Whyte does go fight Trevor Bryan and he beats him, right? And Wilder gets boosted up again. Well, let's say he becomes mandatory. Is he going to pull a Ryan Garcia and walk away from his mandatory? What excuse would he have for not fighting Dillian Whyte? See, this is what I'm saying. When I talk about having real estate in the division, you have to have something, because your bargaining chips are more, you know, than what they would be if you didn't. How is Dillian Whyte going to fight Wilder, and Wilder's going to come there with no title, coming off a loss, trying to dictate the terms? No. No. Now, LDBC guys and Wilder diehards would say, oh, Wilder's the A side. No, he's not the A side. No, he come back and win a fight and build his profile up more. I mean, those type of things could happen. But no. How is he the A side? How? And I say that because this is what most of the people are using right now to make fights not happen, overpricing themselves. So I think that it would be wise for Dillian Whyte to go get that WBA. Wilder obviously doesn't want it. He doesn't know what he wants to do. And this is a game of chess, man. You gotta, when you see things happen, you gotta strategically, your team, you gotta be on top of these things. Hey, what you think about fighting Trevor Bryant, man? He has this WBA. We know he's an easy touch. It's a title. You understand what I'm saying? And he get to sit here and pick who he want to fight out the division. And the WBA has some weird rankings, and he can fight some meatballs, and if he's, you know, knocking these guys out, building his profile up, and at some, and look, think about it. Dillian Whyte wasn't even ranked in the WBA. His name wasn't even up there, so I'm going, well, how in the hell is Dillian Whyte not ranked? Hey, look, if you treat it like it's a junior title, and like it's you're bigger than that title, think about this. I don't care how prestigious the title is, it's what you do with it. Just because you hold a title and they, oh, Ali had this, Holmes had it, this guy, so what? They're going to compare what you did with that title to what they did. And if you fall short, like, okay, Berman Stavern was WBC title champion. Who talks about his title reign? Shannon Briggs is the two-time world champion. Nobody talks about Shannon Briggs. There's several champions you could think of that held the title at some point. Hossein Rahman. Who talks about these guys? They don't talk about these guys. And when you talk about legendary status, that name's never going to come up. So it doesn't matter because you hold a particular title. It's what you do during your reign holding the title. So just like the WBO. I remember when the WBO belt was considered just some new bum title belt. Manny Pacquiao's held that belt. I think Oscar held it. I mean, several people have held that WBO. So now guess what? It's a part of that undisputed chain, isn't it? So is what I'm saying. At one point, that belt was overlooked. Now, we get it. They keep creating all these different titles. But at the same time, if Trevor Bryant can hold it, why can't Dillian Whyte or Deontay Wilder? You know, Dillian Whyte already expressed interest in it. Wilder has yet to say anything about what he wants to do. And like I said, I don't think he's made his mind up. If he ever comes back, and the longer he waits, it's just going to be a tougher hill for him to climb. We haven't seen one training video of Wilder. We still don't know anything about his new so-called trainer. And he looks very frail to me. Any video that I've seen, if you look, he looks narrow, he looks skinny. He doesn't even look like he's been doing anything. And remember, he said one time he was ready to go in September, right, against Fury, but then he turns around and said, to tell you the truth, I haven't been training. So when these guys are saying things, it's like they say one thing and do something else. So look, plain and simple, we have fights coming up, and they're going to be somewhere. And I know that they're trying to get undisputed in front of a crowd, but it's not like it's impossible. This is why I'm saying if it was as hard as what people are saying, Eddie Hearn would be, he would be more down on his vibe. Eddie Hearn is pushing for this thing to happen. You know, we got Oscar Rivas and Bryant Jennings rematch. It's more like a keep busy fight for Oscar Rivas, or get busy fight, because I don't think he's fought since he's fought Dillian Whyte. I think this is the first fight since Dillian Whyte. But Bryant Jennings, journeyman. Oscar Rivas won the first fight. This is a rematch between the two of them. I don't know how much hype is behind it because I really don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't think it's a fight people really care for so much. But Oscar Rivas, depending on how he look, how he handles business, can he get back to his winning ways, and where does he go from here? Is Oscar Rivas somebody you think Deontay Wilder want to come back against? Most people will say no. Most people will say no. Do you guys think that Trevor Bryant will beat Oscar Rivas? Most people will say no. Again, that's an easy touch. I hope Dillian Whyte goes after that WBA title, put some pressure on any fighter who's calling names, but then back out when it comes time for the fight to materialize. Then all of a sudden now they get quiet. They don't want to fight. We'll see what happens. Look, that's all I'm going to say in this video. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. I'll catch y'all in the next video.